No immigration. Get out. You guys asked to do train videos. If train videos do well, another thing that we can add to our Patreon as well, the description below for the video on YouTube. Here we go. Let's watch a video about trains. ChaChaYourVmom. Shut the
Definitely not 2024. Where? I don't know. Anywhere, really. People and goods are getting around using horses, ships, and their feet, but they're slow. Very slow. The Greeks carved out a grooved trackway to transport boats on land with carts.
Oh.
It's almost like a railroad track, said someone from the future.
Choo-choo.
A guy called the hero of Alexandria then discovered steam power.
Ooh.
By heating up water, he generated steam to flow through pipes and make a ball spin. It was revolutionary, but some merely saw it as a toy with no practical purpose.
My kids would like this.
Much later, the Germans realized that using timber rails could speed up the movement of wheelbarrows and mine carts over muddy terrain in the mines. Well, that sucks. Sick of floods in your mine? Try out Geronimo's steam-powered water pump, keeping your mines dry since 1606.
Geronimo!
Then Thomas Avery did the same thing, except more British. But the world was still too slow. I want to get from here to there and faster. But how?
Trains.
Industrial Revolution. What's that?
A revolution?
Whoa!
Oh, it's the Industrial Revolution from Great Britain, and it's probably about to change the world. Inventors started thinking, well, those steam pumps were pretty cool, but what if I could make things move with steam?
I love the TF2.
Using pipes, pistons, and valve gear, wheels could be turned by way of steam pressure created by boiling water in a boiler with wood or coal in a firebox. Experimental self-propelled steam vehicles started popping up here and there. Now let's meet Richard Trevithick. He created the Puffing Devil road locomotive. Does it ride on rails? No, but it was the first to use high-pressure steam. After a successful run, Trevithick and his friends went to the pub and then the engine exploded.
What?
After that kerfuffle, his Penny Darren locomotive made the first ever steam-powered railway journey on tracks in 1804. It broke the iron rails.
Why does it have such big wheel? It go round and round and big wheel. That's a big wheel.
Rode on, but this was still a big step forward, leading to the Salamanca becoming the first steam locomotive to work for more than 5 seconds. George Stephenson and his son Robert said,
"Now watch this drive,"
and opened the
big wheel equal faster speed. Huh, interesting. Okay, so you kind of need the big wheel to go fast, be sonic.
Stockton and Darlington Railway, becoming the first public passenger and freight hauling railway to use steam locomotives. Uh-oh, the Liverpool and Manchester Railway is about to open, but what are they going to use as power? They decided to have a competition to see which locomotive had the best speed and power. Get ready, set, go!
They all exploded?
They all broke except the rocket, as it reached a neck-breaking speed of 30 miles an hour. So the Stephensons were selected to build locomotives for the L&M, who went on to pioneer double-track main lines, signals, timetables, and carrying mail by...
Can I just say, I love how they basically had engineering competitions. It's so cool.
rail. Meanwhile, in Hoboken, New Jersey, John Stevens built the first American steam locomotive and railroad to show Americans how cool trains were. It was a half-mile loop in his backyard.
Yeah, like old school world fairs. Except competitive, which is kind of cool. I like that concept.
Yup, that's a stone. Specifically the first stone of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, the first common carrier railroad in the United States. There goes the Stourbridge Lion. It broke the tracks. Hey, it's the Tom Thumb. Broke after racing a horse. Okay, how about the best friend of Charleston? Yeah, there's still some kinks to work out. Robert Davidson built the first electric locomotive, but it kinda sucks and was destroyed by steam locomotive crews. Nations across the world began having their baby's first railway moment, especially in Great Britain, but they couldn't figure out which track gauge to use.
Hey!
People were finally seeing the...
Wait, is that like an original concept for Thomas the Train?
Yeah, there's still some kinks to work out. Robert Davidson built the first electric locomotive, but it kinda sucks and was destroyed by steam locomotive crews. Nations across the world began having their baby's first railway moment, especially in Great Britain, but they couldn't figure out which track gauge to use. People were finally seeing the value in railways moving people and freight at faster speeds and higher quantities than a horse could, but canal owners didn't. You're taking our jobs! May the devil curse your wretched machine!
Dang.
Okay. Then the two realized they could work together.
Wait, was that a real argument back then? Man, you're taking away our jobs.
As more trains popped into the world, that meant more boiler explosions, derailments, and pandemonium amongst the general public. Critics thought railways would cause farm animals to go insane, women would melt, traveling at the high speed of 30 miles per hour would surely mean death, and the power of trains could be challenging God himself.
Whoa.
Well, God didn't have much to say on the matter, so
Nah,
people
man,
kept
we
building
chill.
trains. Trains got drafted into the military when Prussia started using them to move troops. Are you
Russia.
too lazy to build a bridge? Use a train ferry instead and let the steamship do all the
I love
work.
ferries.
Britain puts trains in India to surely benefit the Indian people. The Australian colonies start building railways, but just like Big Brother Britain, can't figure out which gauge to use. Their lead engineer said, let's use the Irish gauge. Then he left after his paycheck got cut, and then the second guy said, let's use standard gauge. Brother Britain sent a letter saying, hey, you guys should probably just use one track gauge. But the message took forever to arrive, and later the other colonies started using Cape gauge. Surely this won't cause future problems. London is getting so crowded they built an underground railway and basically popularized the subway and rapid transit to move a lot of people really fast. Uh-oh.
War.
The Americans are killing each other and using rail-mounted cannons. Union troops also stole a Confederate locomotive, said nana nana boo boo, and the Confederates chased them on foot and then in a locomotive. After the North and South reunite, they manifest their destiny by killing the natives,
Transcontinental
taking their
Railroad.
land, and placing down some trains. The tribes fought back by derailing the Iron Horse, except the Pawnee, who welcomed the railroad. At Promontory Summit, Utah, the first American transcontinental railroad was completed and they took a gangster picture together.
Gangster.
Trains suck at climbing hills, but not anymore with the rack railway. Hey, pull my
Nice
finger.
rack. What? Oh.
Just kidding, that's an air brake lever made by George Westinghouse to stop brakemen from dying on top of a moving train while screwing on handbrakes. Over in China, a British merchant built a demonstration railway, but the Qing government said, dude, are you insane? This is gonna scare everyone, and made him dismantle the line for promoting bad vibes. The Japanese decided they wanted to learn how to build railroads and hired foreigners to help, but then said get the hell out once they were done.
Dang!
Wanna go up the big hills of San Francisco? Take the new cable car. Cable in the road, passenger in the car. Back in China, the British and Americans started building a road, and by road I mean railroad, and when the government found out
Japan still like that today. No immigration. Get out.
Do you get dehydrated a lot, need a drink that won't break the bank? Then you should get Gamersupps. They believe in traditional American values, like anime girl guys. It's caffeine-free and caffeinated in 2 kinds of tubs. Gamersupps improved my social life, and now I can stop seeing people in the mirror. Popular flavors include Guacamole Gamer Fart 9000, Sweet 6-Pack, Blowhole Blast, and Sploosh. Use discount ChaCha at checkout for 10% off. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated.
the Westerners lied, they said, dude, stop. Stop it. Can you please stop building the... And the British completed their railway and made bank off it, until China had it dismantled a year later. Werner von Siemens said, hey, what's up?
His name is what?
I'm gonna build an electric locomotive. And he did. It was a wood block on wheels with a motor, but it worked, and people were amazed at the sight of a smokeless locomotive. Hey! Don't touch the track! Do you want to get electrocuted? Because Berlin just opened the first electric tramway. It created an electric current from the steel rails through the wheels and into the motor. No more stinky horse required. Would you like to go to Paris to Constantinople in style?
No.
Hop on the Orient Express, hosting sleeping cars and exquisite dining options.
Oh, nice.
The US and Canada got fed up with trains running into each other and got federal time zones instated to simplify timetables. Europe is hungry for a piece of African pie, and by piece I mean the whole continent, and put a bunch of trains there to extract natural resources while quelling the natives. Canada just finished their first long-ass transcontinental railway, and America said, damn it, I built a 5th one? Well, a train just crashed through a station in Paris, and the Americans slammed 2 locomotives into each other head-on, cause why not, and accidentally killed 2 people. Oops. But hey,
Two?
electric locomotives
Just
are
two?
finally making a name for themselves.
Hey, I remember these times. Intermission. Oh, this is so cute. Look how relaxing. Yeah.
Now it's the 20th century and locomotives are getting bigger, better, faster, and
stronger.
Bigger boilers and fireboxes meant more power, and bigger wheels provided faster speeds. Over in Germany, Eugen Langen looked at a railroad track and said, "Pfft, 2 rails are overrated, and you know what? We're going airborne," and created the Wuppertal Suspension Railway, an early monorail.
Wuppertal. Schweben.
Okay, what the hell is this? The
I
Ford
know,
Motor Company just dropped a
what
model
it is. It's chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. Na 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 na.
T automobile. It's probably just a passing fad. I mean, come on. Do you really think this thing is gonna compete with trains? Have you seen how fast they go now? The Sultan of the Ottoman Empire ordered the construction of a railway to link Damascus with the holy Muslim city of Mecca, thus making the Hajj pilgrimage more accessible. It was also to assert control over the empire. They only got as far as Medina due to tribal resistance. Hey, Germany and Switzerland? Yeah? What's that? Oh, it's a diesel locomotive. A diesel? No, a diesel. That Rudolf Diesel guy invented the engine, but he disappeared on a ship. Oh. Anyway, apparently the whole world decided to go to war, and whoa, that's a big gun. And here's a tiny train. Trench railways were built to transport troops and supply food and ammunition to soldiers locked in stalemate-ridden trench battles. Badass-looking armored trains with guns also made an appearance here. While fighting on the Eastern Front, Russia finally finished the Trans-Siberian Railway, linking the isolated Siberia with the rest of the country, and America nationalized their railroads and started pumping out standard designs left and right to support the war effort. Alright, the war's over. Hopefully that won't happen again. American locomotives are getting big, thanks to larger fireboxes and superheaters. Also, they denationalized. Here's your railroads back. Thanks again, pal.
Oh.
What the fuck? Britain just grouped 120 railways into 4, and the economy just crashed. The Great Depression hits railroads hard, and people start hopping freight trains to find work in new towns. People are also hopping into automobiles more often as road networks improved and expanded, spelling the eventual demise of many interurbans and tramways. Meanwhile, Soviet engineers copied America's homework and made something bigger and also worse in every way.
Whoa.
What was that?
Broke
It was
tracks.
Flying Scotsman, the first steam locomotive to reach 100 miles per hour. These two might say otherwise, though. While everyone is still depressed, designers fell in love with Art Deco and streamlined a bunch of trains to make them look more modern and
Future
aerodynamic.
trains.
Jesus, these trains are going so fast now. The London and Northeastern's Mallard set a speed record for steam at 126 miles per hour, but it broke itself in the process. Still pretty cool though. Back in the US, steam locomotives are going strong and it... Knock knock.
Oh, General
It's the diesel
Motors.
locomotive. Many American railroads decided steam was icky and expensive, so diesel started taking over. But not before they built some of the largest steam locomotives ever. Oh great, 3 guys suddenly decided they wanted to take over the world and now there's a World War II.
These guys.
Railways play a major role in transporting troops and supplies and prove to be a critical target for bomber planes. Armored trains and huge railway guns are deployed into service while the Nazis use trains for inhumane purposes. The invading Japanese Empire starts construction of the
Frick these
Burma
nerds.
Railway, and by that I mean they forced abducted civilians and allied prisoners of war to build the line to supply Japanese forces. Britain uses its trains to evacuate women and children from bomb-targeted cities to rural housing and camps, while Londoners take shelter in subway stations during the Blitz.
They were like sleeping in the train tracks. That's wild.
Around the war's end, a Reverend Wilbur Awdry imagined sentient trains with faces and publishes his...
Here we go. Here we go. He imagines it. Freaking schizo. A bunch of people are going to be like, huh, base. This schizo put freaking faces on trains, and that's where we got, like, the concept for Thomas the Train, dude.
first of many children's books. Remember him later. British Railways became British Railways,
One of
but
them
the
looks like
Tally-Flynn
Bobby
Railway
Hill.
wasn't included because they kind of
Crazy.
forgot about it. It then barely survived closure and became the first preserved heritage railway in the world, and kickstarted a movement of people saying, hey, maybe we should preserve this stuff. Meanwhile, Argentina's British and French-owned railways are nationalized and they throw a party. And then Germany is divided into East and West, and people start using the Berlin subway to escape from the communist and less prosperous East. The previously nationalized railway network is also divided. In Canada, Robert Swanson was busy making diesel air horns sound less like this, and more like this.
Interesting.
In other words, he made locomotive horns more musical. This truck trailer is pretty cool, but I wish.
I wonder why. Like, I would say that, like, the first one is, like, a little bit more eerie. I mean, maybe some people want to argue that, like, current trains sound more eerie, but the other one sounded almost like a beast. You know what I mean? I like the way trains sound.
Wish it could ride on railroad tracks. Nice. Oh, hey America, how's it going? Oh, we're doing great. And this here's the love of my life.
What?
That's cool, but what happened to the train? The what? Passenger trains were starting to fall out of style as highways and airlines took over the public's fascination, leaving inner urbans nearly extinct. Ouch! Dr. Richard Beeching just took an axe to Britain's railways. Africa, tired of being colonized, continues declaring independence, thus taking control of their railways, and then Mauritania builds a railway in the middle of nowhere to get some iron. On August 20th, 1963, the 1,000,000th carload of lettuce departed from the Salinas-Watsonville shipping district in California. A period of modernization hits the world's railways with dieselization, electrification, and other new rolling stock. And then Japan one-ups everyone and builds the first high-speed exclusive rail line. Wow, that's really fast, said everyone, kinda envious. We gotta make our own super cool fast train. British Rail sends over 200 retired steam locomotives to Barry's scrapyard. But most of them are saved by rail fans for use or display at heritage railways. Let's check in on the United States. Oh, what the hell? And you got another one in the back?
Yo.
Two American railroads that wanted each other dead just merged, creating one of the largest networks, and uh-oh, they went big-time bankrupt, and now their trains derail every 3 feet.
Penn Central appeals to the government for help, but it doesn't come in time.
Penn Central basically had no money for the basic upkeep of their railroad. They also ruined the Bangor and Aroo Sticks potato shipping service. Insulated boxcars with heaters ran out of fuel while waiting to be interchanged by Penn Central, thus causing the potatoes
Is Penn Central related in any way to Penn Station?
to freeze in the cold winter weather and spoil.
Then we're stuck in here.
Barnacles!
Several potato farms went out of business,
Okay,
and
not
those
related.
that survived never returned to the railroad again, instead going with trucks. Good job, Penn Central.
Hey, Sonic.
Nationwide passenger services were on life support, infrastructure was crumbling, and the public was fed up. This sucks. The government replied, okay, fine, you want your stupid little passenger trains? Here, take this, you frickin'
Amtrak is so goated. Amtrak is so goated. I remember I didn't have a car readily available and I needed to go to Chicago. And I wound up taking the Amtrak.
nerd. And they create the nationalized passenger railroad Amtrak to fail.
Amtrak is genuinely more expensive than flights from Boston. Really? I remember years ago that like it was cheaper to do Amtrak than it was to fly. So it just depends on like what you're willing to do time-wise, but I remember it being a lot cheaper. Are flights really cheaper than doing Amtrak now? Amtrak is pretty cheap though. Yeah. Absolutely.
But then it doesn't and saves passenger trains. Oh, come on, I thought we were done with the explosion.
Just after 8 yesterday morning, somehow a fire started in the huge Southern Pacific switchyard just south of Roseville.
Oh,
Within minutes,
that's not good.
balls of flame.
Flying Scotsman has the worst vacation ever after traveling to America and almost getting scrapped. The curtain finally falls on the majority of mainline and industrial steam locomotive operations as they're phased out across the world in favor of diesels and electrics. Rhodesia wants some diesels, but the United Nations said no. What did they do? They put on Drake Bell's I Found a Way and illegally imported locomotives from an undisclosed source. The Smithsonian Institution pulled great-grandpa out of retirement to celebrate his 150th birthday, thus making John Bull the oldest operating steam locomotive and self-propelled vehicle in the world at the time. Ding dong, it's the future, and they have floating trains in England. The Birmingham maglev uses repelling magnets to make the train hover. Remember Reverend Wilbur Awdry? Well, his books just got made into a TV show that may or may not become a children's show empire, and one of the reasons you're watching this video. The US and Soviet Union are still paranoid of each other, so they built some mildly inconspicuous rail cars and trains where nuclear missiles could be launched from.
Whoa!
Just in case.
Whoa!
In Canada, the government...
I didn't know they had sleeper cars! First we have sleeper agents, then we have sleeper cars? Sleeper train cars? That's crazy, dude!
Slashes the ever-living hell out of Via Rail's budget year after year, forcing them to cut half their services. India just started up the Lifeline Express, a traveling hospital train where people in areas lacking medical services can get surgeries, medications, screenings, vaccines, and more. Japan is expanding their passenger network with their economic bubble and then they privatize. American railroads are merging like crazy and the New York City subway is covered in graffiti. Germany and its railways were unified. Yay! The Soviet Union broke up and the former republics established their own nationalized rail networks. High-speed rail is growing in Europe and Britain decides to privatize their railways and make the passenger network really confusing. Intermodal container trains are really popping off now, allowing for a more streamlined transfer of freight across the world. I hope you weren't planning on a Nicaraguan train trip because the president just shut most of them down. I want to go from England to France, but my train won't flow. Oh hell yeah. Now, if I had a nickel for every underwater rail tunnel that was opened in 1994, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. China builds one of the world's last revenue-earning steam locomotives, and then the government put their foot down and started investing billions upon billions of dollars to bring the country's railways into the high-speed age. Hey guys, check out my new bullet train. It goes 150 miles per hour, said Amtrak, unveiling America's first proper high-speed train set. Now, Europe and Asia, don't laugh.
Oh man.
It sure is nice riding on Swiss Federal Railways in the year 2005. Hi, Squidward.
A short circuit shut down the entire Swiss railway network for nearly 4 hours, but they recovered by the next day.
Nice.
Ever wanted to share videos of the trains you've seen? With YouTube, now you can. China Railways QJ number 7081 pulls the world's last regularly scheduled steam-powered passenger train. 7081 would later be acquired by the Iowa Interstate Railroad in America. There goes France setting a new speed record for trains at 357 miles per hour. And then the British forgot what century it was and built a new steam locomotive for fun. Russia went north to the northern north to build the northernmost railway in the world to get some natural gas. In the north. Let's see how Japan's doing. Wow, they really like trains. Also, they have the fastest train in the world now.
Yeah.
How fast? At least 10 miles an hour. Step aside, Trans-Siberian Railway. The Yiwu to Madrid railway line just became the longest in the world by completing its first successful round trip, clocking in at 16,156 miles. Big Boy makes a comeback. No, the other Big Boy. Union Pacific restored number 4014 to operate an excursion service, making it the largest and most powerful operating steam locomotive in the world. Light rail and
I wonder if they're going to reference Union Pacific. Union Pacific Railways? I forgot where that's located in America. But I'm pretty sure that's like a big train centered it's like an engineering and train sort of company. Guys, help me out. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? No, not in Wyoming, not in Utah. Union Pacific? Pacific Union? You guys know what I'm talking about? For the railroad? There's like a big one in, I don't know if it's Iowa or trying to think. But anyway.
Other new passenger train systems are on the rise across the world because people realize, hey, these train things are pretty cool. And also, just one more lane, bro, doesn't always help. The COVID-19 pandemic locked down the world and caused ridership on passenger trains to plummet. Services were drastically reduced or temporarily cut, with a gradual return in the next couple years. Fed up with their passenger trains sucking and changing owners every few years, the UK decides to renationalize and revert their railways back to British railways, except more great. China continues expanding their railway network at the speed of sound, and then they finally retire steam locomotives after nearly 150 years. Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern merged to create Canadian Pacific Kansas City, and to celebrate, CEO Keith Creel sent CP-2816 on a round trip across Canada, the US, and Mexico to enormous fanfare. It was the first steam locomotive to travel across the 3 countries. Technology is improving, but the globe is heating up. What do we do? Asked the world. I don't know, but here's some hydrogen and battery powered trains that might help. Want to become a train driver? Too late, buddy. A computer might be doing that for you. And then Thomas the Tank Engine takes over the world. Hey everyone, thank you so much.
I think I told you guys this story, but when I was a wee child, I took piano lessons. And the way that I would pay for my piano lessons is I had to babysit these 2 kids. One of them loved Polly Pockets, and the other one was addicted to Thomas the Train. And so whenever I was there, he would throw the biggest tantrum ever until I put on Thomas the Train. Listen, I was 8 years old. I had no other choice. I had no other choice. You don't understand the kind of tantrums he threw.